So I guess I can only stream or record and then stream on TikTok at the same time. That's new. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna put this shit over here. Is it good? Yo, welcome back to the stream, y'all. We're doing reacts today. We're reacting to scary videos. Hopefully I don't shit myself.
The following clip is about a family who has finally had enough of the creepy, unexplainable things happening inside their home. Things that, for a long time, made them question their own sanity. They've heard whispers with no source, doors slamming when no one is near, objects shifting on their own, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched, like something unseen is always just out of sight. It wasn't until they installed security cameras that they realized they weren't imagining any of it. And during the holidays, something changed. The activity didn't just continue, it escalated. The house felt more active than ever, almost as if whatever was there had become stronger or more comfortable. Watch this.
I'm waiting for it. Okay, I heard the music, so what happened? Wait, what happened? Her hair moved. Are we dead ass?
In the footage, her hair is suddenly lifted from behind, despite no one being there.
Dude,
that same night, she said she felt a strange tickling sensation in her hair, something subtle, but enough to make her uneasy. And when she checked the footage, this is what she found. Some believe this could be a spirit attempting physical interaction, a way of making its presence known without fully revealing itself. Others think it could be something far more intrusive, something testing how far it can go. Another night, they received a motion alert from their basement, and what the camera captured was even harder to explain.
You best believe I'm throwing heads. From the basement. What am I looking for? Oh hell no, I saw a shadow move. Yo, I don't know who you think you are. Why you in here paying no rent? Are we dead ass?
The Borg found new ground to assimilate.
Bitch, if you living in my house, you paying rent. That ain't up for discussion, dude. The hell's wrong with you? Dude, was the audio cut out or something? You hear the loud thud and shit, but you don't see nothing. You know what I mean? Oh shit, we got Dexter Morgan in here, chat. Yo, if you're in my house, you're paying rent, dude. You don't get to live in my shit for free. You best pull out the like $300. That's a requirement for this shit. Whip it out. That sounded so wrong. Our cameras show that no one outside at the time, and now no one in the basement. That's your shitty ass internet, dude. Like me, I wouldn't know.
A dark, human-like figure appears to move along the wall. And what makes this
Matter of
even
fact,
more
I'm
disturbing
gonna look for
is that
another video. Hold on, chat. Scary urban explore. I like those. I'm gonna go watch Chills real quick. Chills is goated.
Urbex Hill is one of the most popular urban exploration channels on YouTube, featuring raw footage from YouTuber Chris Hill's visits to a lot of the more extreme abandoned buildings in the US. From abandoned mental hospitals to decommissioned military facilities,
Dude,
Chris explores all of it,
someday.
but specifically places that a lot of even the more extreme explorers wouldn't
cool.
visit, at least not at night and alone like Chris always does. In January 2023, he uploaded footage of his visit to the now abandoned Paul Revere Elementary School in Cleveland. After almost a century of use, the school was permanently closed in 2015 due to declining enrollment numbers. Although there are allegedly plans to turn the abandoned building into a housing complex, as of 2024, Paul Revere Elementary is still abandoned and in terrible shape. From the moment Chris walks inside, it's pretty clear that the place hasn't been used in years and has been severely damaged by the elements, vandals, and the passage of time. The bottom floors are all flooded, the walls are peeling, the structure doesn't seem too sound, and there's rust, random papers, books, and all kinds of debris lying everywhere. Throughout the video, you can see messages written in seemingly fresh chalk on some of the whiteboards, confirming that people have been in the building recently. This was actually Chris's second visit to
Paul Revere. Dude was old. God damn. 1923. How old was that, by the way? Hold on. Let me do some math, chat. Hold on. We're doing it about today. 2026 minus 1923. Dude was 103, and he was still going to school.
Paul Revere Elementary. When he uploaded footage of his March 2020.
Oh, it was for a school. It was a school. Now I feel like an idiot.
22 visit to the school, several people in the comments mentioned they had either been students or teachers at the school and talked about how incredibly sad it was to see their beloved childhood school ruined by a
Why does that thing have a giant hand? Like everything is normal now, except you gave it a giant hand. Unless it's holding something.
School and talked about how incredibly sad it was to see their beloved childhood school ruined by abandonment and lack of maintenance. A little after 10 minutes into the exploration, you can hear some sort of ruffling sound and other strange noises coming from somewhere in the schoolhouse.
Show me.
What is that?
Hi, dude. You can still see the light.
Do you hear that?
My dude, you got the survival instincts of a fucking potato. How have you lived to this point? Someone's gonna throw something, he's gonna start running. If I see somebody, go talk to him. He's a fellow explorer. Hey, my dude, how you doing? You get the. I'm here to go, you know, and every single.
As Chris turns a corner in the hallway, another person's flashlight can be seen shining down the hall. It looks to be just one person, who was likely either another urban explorer or a squatter. Still, at 1 a.m. in an abandoned building, it's obviously best to avoid drawing unwanted attention to yourself, especially when you don't know the other person's intentions, which is why Chris ultimately decided to run instead of making his presence known.
That does not look like running.
Making sure to walk in the other direction to avoid running into anyone, he then heads to the library and explores the rest of the top floors. As he goes into the bathroom on the top floor, he has another encounter.
You better throw hands. Pull out the pistol. Pistol whip that motherfucker. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Somebody's in there.
And yet you don't run.
Scared the out of me.
But stood there like. And instead of running, no, he's still like, oh my god. There was somebody in there.
At the far end of the bathroom, what appears to be a human silhouette can be seen standing completely motionless.
That was 100%.
After the initial shock of the encounter, Chris draws his gun and goes back inside to confront the man.
So you had a gun this whole time and you didn't pistol whip that motherfucker? Excuse me?
Hello.
This dude deadass said hello. You have a gun. And instead of going in there guns blazing, you're like, hello. Oh, he's not going to be there no more. He's going to be around the corner, hiding. That's a mannequin, dude. You can tell right away. Because the dude hasn't been moving. You see? Told you.
Oh, it's a f***ing toy.
I don't think you know what a toy is. That's a mannequin.
Oh my god, that scared the
But wait,
out of
what
me.
pushed it down? That's the real question right there.
As it turns out, the silhouette was actually a scary mannequin that somebody set up, probably to scare away visitors. What's most eerie is that even though we can't know for sure how long the mannequin had been standing there before the footage was shot, for some reason it fell forward just in time for Chris to see it.
That's what
the
I'm
most
saying.
reasonable explanation being from the sound waves bouncing off the wall. Most people would have left
sound
as soon
waves?
as they saw the mannequin, but Chris continued to explore the rest of the school, seemingly unmoved by the horrifying experience he just went through, though not before clearing the entire rest of the bathroom. Sadly, some of the rooms in the school are filled with books, whiteboards, and other perfectly usable materials that could have been donated to another
My dude, you take that shit, you go sell them. Make some money off of this shit.
school before the building was abandoned. But nobody seemed to care enough to give them away before the school was abandoned. About half an hour into the visit, Chris climbs up to the
Yeah,
roof,
you have
which
the
in
worst
itself is
mindset
pretty
in history,
risky.
dude.
Even if you don't care about getting caught by the cops, there's still a very high risk of the roof caving in, especially considering the state of the building when the footage was shot.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
that shit
he was
looks
able to
cool.
climb down safely, but that's when a strange noise could be heard coming from the other end of one of the hallways.
safe is still here.
Open that shit up. Oh, that's a dude. That's a dude. I saw the silhouette. Pistol whip them.
As Chris explores one of the rooms, a strange howl can be heard in the distance, and as he raises his camera, you can clearly see a shadow moving behind the door at the far end of the room.
That's what I'm saying.
By this point, it's pretty clear that not only are multiple other people in the building with him, but now he's possibly being stalked. Once again, Chris draws his gun and prepares for an encounter, but he doesn't find anyone in any of the rooms. After this, he admits he's ready to call it a night and decides to head home,
Okay,
but not
yeah.
before this final encounter.
This place is weird as hell.
That's when you start booking it.
Oh, here it is. This place is crazy.
I
I remember the last time I explored.
heard someone running up behind you.
Hello?
My dude, you clearly don't want to see the next day, right? You want to die.
Hello?
You best believe if I ever do this, I'm bringing back. I'm bringing all my friends.
Somebody coming down the
I'm
stairs.
bringing semi-automatics and shit. I'm not gonna get caught down there with my pants down.
As he struggles to find his way out of the school, the sound of
You best
footsteps can be
believe that.
clearly heard on the stairway directly above Chris's head.
And he's
But after
still
running
walking,
up
dude.
and calling out to see if he gets a response, nobody acknowledges him. Luckily, he was able to walk away unharmed and has continued to upload videos of his visits to abandoned places pretty
Hold on, Jack, give
frequently.
me a second.
The Proper People is an urban exploration channel owned by Brian and Michael, two friends who travel the world in search of abandoned buildings. For the past 10 years that their channel has been active, Brian and Michael have built up a reputation for being a trustworthy channel that only uploads genuine footage of their explorations. In a niche of YouTube that's often plagued
Sorry, I have
by
to check
cheap,
if my-
fake
if my
footage from
stream
people
audio
trying to
is
get
good
their
on my
15
phone.
minutes of fame, The Proper People has endured as one of the
Just
most
checking it
reliable
out
channels
on
in
my
the
other
urbex
account.
space. They gained their fame from explorations of genuinely cool places instead of faking creepy encounters or anything of the such. In 2016, they uploaded a video of their nighttime visit to the Jemison Center in Northport, Alabama, often referred to as Old Bryce Hospital.
People actually
From
done this
1939 to 1977,
don't
the
you have to,
Jemison
like,
Center
ask
housed
police
hundreds of
if
psychiatric
it's okay to
patients
do it?
and acquired a
Like,
reputation
legally,
for
so
treating
even
them
if
pretty
they do,
harshly.
if you do get caught by them, you
Often
don't get in
referred to
trouble?
as the creepiest building in Alabama, Old Bryce was closed in the late 70s, and often referred to as the creepiest building.
Why is there a dong on my screen squirting out blue liquid? That's a fish.
In Alabama, Old Bryce was closed in the late 70s and has since been reclaimed by nature and become a hotspot for urban explorers from all over the world. As Michael and Brian approach the location in their car, there doesn't seem to be anyone around, and after driving around the grounds for a while, the two YouTubers get out of their vehicle to begin exploring, settling on the basement as the first area to explore. After more than 4 decades of abandonment, the entire complex is almost completely destroyed, and while some of the walls are completely covered in all kinds of graffiti, some of them aren't even there anymore. With the state of disrepair of the Jemison Center, there's always a chance that the structure could collapse on itself and trap Brian and Michael inside. But as they go up the stairs to explore the top floor, it becomes clear that an unsound structure is the least of their worries.
That's a Sam and Dean sigil right there.
Well, look at this.
That's what I'm calling it. It's her run. Becca.
Look at this staircase out here. Oh,
Oh, shit,
there's somebody
what?
there.
No way.
How did you see it?
Oh.
What?
How
somebody
did
there.
you see it though?
No way.
Yes, I see their light. They're out there. I swear on my life. Right there.
I'm only seeing the black screen, dude. What's wrong with you?
Should I say hello?
Yeah.
There's somebody out there. Let's go back to the car. This way. If it's somebody wanting to talk to us.
Let's go to the car now.
Oh yeah. Oh,
As the camera pans to the window, the outline of a person holding up a light can be seen on the staircase on the opposite side of the
That does not
building.
look like somebody holding up a light.
Disturbingly,
That
as
looks
soon
like
as the
somebody
uploaders turn off their light,
getting
the other
caught with
person
their
does the
pants
exact
down,
same thing,
dick in
indicating
hand.
they were watching and didn't want to be spotted. Chillingly, if you rewind the footage to when the YouTubers arrived at the top floor, you can clearly see a light outside the window frame, but it's unclear if the light was coming from the same person who was watching them.
Clearly not.
After calling out and receiving no response, Brian and Michael decide to go back to their car to avoid getting jumped or worse. It's hard to know what exactly
You
the
would have
intentions of the other
gotten
person were,
molested.
but what's even more disturbing is the fact that there were no other cars in the area when they arrived and when they left, which means that whoever was there had arrived on foot and probably been there for a while.
Homeless dudes. I'm telling you.
Ridgely Hospital was a women's psychiatric hospital in Lancaster, UK that operated
Chad,
for
let me
almost
know,
100
should I do
years
this
from
IRL?
1916 to 2013.
Like whenever I get like
Famous for being one of the
whenever
first
I have more
psychiatric
money,
hospitals
like,
in the
buy a
UK that fought for
GoPro
the
and
humane
anything
treatment
like
of
that,
mentally ill
and go do
patients,
this.
Ridgely Hospital housed thousands of patients and used modern treatment methods such as electroconvulsion therapy to help patients with a range of disorders, from severe depression to obsession to mania. In April 2022, YouTuber Exploring with Tom visited the site with 3 of his friends in the middle of the night. Throughout their visit, they were extremely loud and not aware of their surroundings, which is obviously not the best idea
This
when
is how you
exploring an
should put
abandoned
up
building.
on a haunted
Keep in
building
mind that
or
most of
anything
these
like that,
abandoned buildings are
with
still considered
extra
government
muscle.
property, which makes it illegal to trespass and explore the grounds. Still, if you disturb a hostile squatter's home by being obnoxiously loud, getting arrested would probably be the least of your worries.
Hold up. You're intruding into a squatter's house. First of all, they
Well, I am scared of you. I think someone is doing that, to be honest with you. What the?
After hearing some strange noises coming from one of the
Fuck
rooms,
the
the 4
squatters.
explorers call out to see if there's anyone in the building, and this is where things get a little disturbing.
There's someone there. Someone there. Just
Someone
Let's see
there.
who it is. It might need help.
Hello? What?
Mother, there are 4 of you running from one dude. Honestly, oh my god, yeah, y'all are insane.
Everyone okay?
4 dudes running
Keep
from
calm.
one.
Keep calm.
We're flashing the flashlight, dude. He's gonna give me a seizure. He has a flashlight too.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
It's always the cameraman at the back now.
What
He's
you
still
want?
chasing you.
He's like that! He's like that! What the? No!
As soon as one of the teenagers calls out, a man can be heard screaming from inside the room. Without thinking
I would've
twice,
been like,
Tom and his
"Hey,
friends make a run
sir,
for it
I
back to
got
their
a gun.
car,
Back
but
the fuck
disturbingly,
up."
the man isn't satisfied
Yo,
with
Ruby,
just
thank you
scaring
for
them
the
out
share.
of the building
Appreciate you,
and ends up
Ruby, thank you.
chasing them all the way to their car. It's unknown who the man was or what he wanted from them, but one of the theories that's been echoing in the
I'm going
comments
feral
is that
now.
he was probably a homeless person who got upset at the amount of noise Tom and his friends were making.
I don't give a damn, bro.
It's probably not too pleasant
here
to
over
have
here
4
filming
rowdy
content
teenagers
to-
burst into the abandoned building you call your home
to
and
make
start
money, and
yelling,
you're over here
laughing,
just
and
living off
swearing.
a building for
But
free.
still,
Nah, what
it's
is
good
wrong
they
with
were able
you?
to get away unharmed.
Yo, Ruby, thank you for the share. Appreciate you, Ruby.
In
Thank you.
2006, a 36-year-old man named Vincent Filia was living in the woods as a fugitive near Lugoff, South Carolina, after being accused of abusing his stepdaughter.
You should be hung.
In September of that same year, he saw a 14-year-old girl named Elizabeth Schoaf getting off the school bus and decided to abduct her. Posing as a police officer, Filia arrested Schoaf on a supposed marijuana charge and led her to his hideout in the middle of the woods. For 10 days, Elizabeth was chained up and abused by Filia in the underground bunker beneath the hideout in what can only be described as a nightmare come true. Still, the girl was extremely resilient throughout the whole ordeal and came up with the plan.
You mean like beating her or molesting her? Either way, find this motherfucker and kill him. Slit his throat, chop his head off. I don't care. He don't deserve to be breathing.
To escape from the
People
horrifying
like that,
situation
no.
she found
And
herself
once you
in.
do that shit,
If she wanted to
done for.
escape, Elizabeth knew that she had to get Vincent to like her. For several days, she pretended to be in love with Filia, and eventually the kidnapper lowered his guard, even unchaining her and allowing her to play games on his phone. One night, while Vincent was sleeping, the
Okay,
teenager
first of all,
got
that
a
was
hold of his
stupid.
phone and sent a text to her mom saying
That's another crime right there. Why do you have Diet Pepsi? Get the regular one. Regular
she was
one's
in a hole
fire.
across the Charm Hill, that there was a bomb, and to call the police.
It says, violent warning, your life is flagged for violent and criminal behavior. Dude, you want pedophiles to be here? No, I don't care. Life is restricted to some audiences. Okay, then TikTok, fuck you for being biased.
As it was later revealed, Filia had planned to draw in as many people as possible to the bunker to detonate a bomb and take the lives of the responding officers. However, he never managed to carry out his plan, for just a few minutes later the area was surrounded by helicopters and he was forced to surrender. To make a long story short, Elizabeth was able to move on with her hold of his phone and sent a text to her mom saying she was in a hole across the Charm Hill, that there was a bomb, and to call the police. As it was later revealed, Filia had planned to draw in as many people as possible to the bunker to detonate a bomb and take the lives of the responding officers. However, he never managed to carry out his plan, for just a few minutes later the area was surrounded by helicopters and he was forced to surrender.
She swatted
To make a long story short, Elizabeth was able to move on with her life, and the monster named Vincent Filia spent the rest of his life in prison, where he died in 2021 in his cell.
Good.
In December 2023, a YouTuber named Big Banks visited the abandoned hideout where the terrifying crime.
What was his username?
2023, a YouTuber named Big Banks visited
Big Bags or Big Backs?
the abandoned hideout where the terrifying crime took place.
Nah.
Immediately upon entering the house, the uploader finds something extremely
A
disturbing.
Volkswagen. Cool.
I think this was the little girl's backpack that was left here. What a sad sight to see, knowing that that happened.
A little girl's backpack can be seen on the floor outside the kitchen. Although it's impossible to confirm if it belonged to Elizabeth Schoaf, it is possible that it was planted there after the crime by somebody else.
Call her and tell her, yeah,
As he
you still
explores the
backpack?
living room, the uploader finds more creepy stuff, including a DVD of the horror movie The Strangers, a Halloween decoration next to one of the couches, a shank, a broken baseball bat, and a
shank?
ripstick. Obviously, the fact that these items were left behind is much more disturbing when you consider the history of the house. It's heartbreaking to imagine that some of the toys lying around the floor possibly belonged to the girl that
This
Vincent
dude had
Filion
the
stole.
audacity to have the Bible.
Throughout the rest of the house, several objects and pieces of furniture, including the bed in the main room, look like they were placed there much later than 2006.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
possible that the house was occupied by
dust or
squatters,
nothing.
but because it was empty at the time the footage was shot, it's impossible to know what belonged to Filion, his
Marlboro
common-law
cigarettes?
family, his victim, and the squatters. Thankfully, after being reunited with her family in 2006, Elizabeth went on to live a fruitful life, and the man who committed the heinous crime against her paid the price for it.
Good. He
Holton
deserved
Avenue
it.
is a notoriously creepy abandoned street in Cleveland, Ohio.
Abandoned street.
In
like the whole
1913,
house
the
and
first
everything's
Hungarian
abandoned?
Baptist church was built on that street, eventually falling into disuse and being left abandoned like the rest of the buildings on that street. In April 2016, the body of a woman named Jessica Coleman was found there after she went missing, but unfortunately her attacker
R.I.P.
was never found.
R.I.P.
In July 2023, Chris Hill went to the location to record footage of the abandoned church, as well as the rest of the buildings on Holton Avenue.
Why go at night?
From
though?
disturbing
That-
graffiti
that's
to broken
like
glass and
much
peeling
creepier.
walls, the church checks every box you would expect from a creepy, abandoned building. As he
I heard
ventures into
voices.
the basement, Chris finds signs that someone else had been inside the church, including an action figure of Melvin the giraffe from Madagascar that he mentions he doesn't remember seeing the last time
They did my boy Melman dirty.
he visited the location.
Nah,
Knowing
they
that
do
he's
Melman
often not
dirty,
alone
Chad.
during his explorations, Chris set up several cameras throughout the church, and about 10 minutes into
Why?
the exploration, one of the cameras on the main floor captures something pretty creepy.
Show me. You dare slam the door while I'm recording?
Obviously,
The
doors don't just
audacity?
randomly shut themselves, and as it wasn't particularly windy that night, it's clear that someone was in the church with Chris.
The audacity.
But
these
after
dudes
looking
have
around for a
to
bit,
be
he can't
shutting
find
my
anyone in
doors.
the church and decides to head back outside to explore the rest of the buildings on Holton Avenue.
Kick all the doors down.
If the
find
church
that
was
dude.
in a messed up state, some of
Gag
the
'em.
houses are even worse, with most of them looking like they could collapse at any second.
I'm
Around
playing,
half an
I'm
hour into the
playing.
visit, he decides to
No, I'ma
explore
get
one of the
mad on
most
TikTok
dilapidated
playing that.
houses on the block, and as he's in the basement, the exploration takes a scary turn.
It actually looks like it's just underneath the house. It's not really a basement.
Well, it's gonna be smelling like shit. It's smelling like shit. Square up, motherfucker. Square up. Just start throwing hands randomly, just like. Chat, you don't mess with me, man. I'm a roundhouse kid. Oh, hell no. Now you see, someone does that shit. And
Sorry.
he got a whole fucking clip on his ass.
I didn't know nobody lived there.
I don't apologize. The fuck? If he's not paying rent, I don't give a damn.
As he's exploring the basement, a sound can be heard coming from the ground floor, and when he goes back up to find out what it is, a person pulls back the curtain. Immediately apologizing, Chris runs back out to the street,
The
and that's
fact
when he
that the dude
realizes
behind
that
the
despite
curtain
the
doesn't
horrible
face
state of
him.
the supposedly abandoned house, there was actually someone living in there with electricity. Clearly most,
electricity?
if not all of the abandoned buildings on the block were housing people now who didn't want him there, something he never encountered on his first visit.
Okay, yeah, no, that's
And with this
cool.
newfound discovery, Chris called it a night.
Did he get some?
In February
No.
2020, urban explorer Ridham Ryder explored an abandoned house at an undisclosed location with his exploration partner Zay Clark. According to
Zay
Ridham, the
Clark?
house used to belong to an old woman who had passed away. In complete contrast to most abandoned houses, most of the woman's possessions had been left untouched, indicating that the house had not yet fallen prey to looters and squatters who often take things that aren't theirs. All throughout the house, the two explorers find everything from
Take the
beautiful
microwave.
tableware and silverware to ornately woven tapestries and a fully equipped bar. Based on the calendars they
A
found
bar?
in the
You
house, the
said
property
bar?
hadn't been occupied since August 2018. Just a few minutes into the visit, Ridham and Zay find something incredibly sad and disturbing.
What is it?
Always been worried
What'd you
about something
find?
like this happening, and then it did. When we walked in here, we took a few steps in the door, and we saw this on the ground.
Oh, that's what
now,
she died.
for those who can't figure that, excuse me, figure out what that is a body stain.
Yeah, that's what she
and
died.
You can see right there, there's a walker. So, unfortunately, it seems that the woman who had lived here had taken a bad fall, landed on the floor, and that's where she expired, unfortunately. It's extremely, extremely sad to us. It took us a good 20 minutes to decide what we're going to do here, and despite it feeling weird, we figured we still need to tell the story because this is a good reminder to everybody that you need to check on your loved ones. It seemed this woman had passed and was laying here for God knows how long before she was found. So check in on your loved ones, guys.
Yeah, right in the middle of the hallway, a human body stain can be seen on the floor next to a walker, indicating that the old woman probably had a bad fall and couldn't get up. Sadly, she passed away and her body decomposed before anyone could save her, which is a terrifying way to die. There appear to be signs that the woman's family members tried to sort through her things after she passed away, but overall her various belongings are in perfectly good shape, including her bathroom supplies, which were still there at the time of the recording. It's hard to watch the footage without having conflicting feelings. Even though the house is beautiful and you can easily tell that the woman who lived there with her husband was a talented, outgoing person, it's incredibly sad to see how she met her end.
By the way, I haven't seen those box TVs in a hot minute. It has been years since I last seen one.
It's incredibly sad to see how she met her end.
Okay?
Overall, the footage serves as a reminder to check in on your loved ones every time you get the chance, because nobody deserves to pass away like that. Since 2020, Rhythm with Ryder hasn't gone back to that location.
R.I.P. chat, R.I.P. One more? We'll do one more.
Christopher Brian Hill is an urban explorer with a YouTube channel called Urbex Hill. Over the past 10 years, he's been uploading raw footage of his visits to some of the creepiest abandoned buildings in the country, often running into unexpected and sometimes life-threatening situations.
Okay, that's a new one, because that's exactly how the other one started. So
explorers like Chris face many dangers. From aggressive stray dogs to hostile squatters to respiratory risks and unsound structures, venturing into an unfamiliar abandoned building is much more risky than it might sound. It's obviously much safer to explore abandoned buildings in the light of day and with a group of friends, but in most of his videos, Chris explores at night and always alone.
You're down for
In June 2022, he visited the abandoned Westinghouse Electric Factory located in Cleveland, Ohio. Built more than a century ago, the factory originally consisted of 7 different buildings, but most of them have been demolished by now. Even though the Westinghouse Company was established in 1886, it didn't reach Cleveland until 1894. Founded by Thomas Edison, Westinghouse is best known for the notable engineers who worked for the company, including Nikola Tesla and William Stanley. For several decades, the Westinghouse Company rivaled General Electric, and it was last used as a lighting equipment production plant before its abandonment in 1979. For the past 4.5 decades, the abandoned factory has been one of the hottest urban exploration locations for curious explorers and YouTubers. In 2012, the factory started receiving even more attention after the Black Widow interrogation scene from the first movie of the Avengers was shot there. 10 years later, Chris made the trip to the abandoned factory and recorded everything he saw. As Chris begins exploring, there doesn't seem to be anyone around, and only the sound of crickets can be heard in the darkness as he walks around the outside of the building. Disturbingly, the sound of gunshots can be heard in the distance less than 5 minutes into the recording. It's worth mentioning that for the past few years, Cleveland has been ranked as one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the US, making this visit to the abandoned factory even more risky.
Shoot. That's Cleveland. Wow. That's crazy.
My man, they're lighting that map up. Well, one shot would have been enough. Y'all just overdoing it at this point. Y'all just wasting ammo.
Oh, that sounds like a shootout.
Chris has experience exploring everything from abandoned mental hospitals and sanatoriums to vacant occult temples, and he shrugs off the fear as he enters the creepy building. Just like in many abandoned buildings, Chris finds a mattress on the floor, meaning at least one person has been sleeping there recently. As he captures footage of the first floor and walks up the stairs to the second floor, all that can be heard in the eerie darkness is the sound of his footsteps. A few minutes later, Chris goes down to the basement, and the footage becomes increasingly creepier as Chris runs into a series of dead ends under the leaky, moldy ceiling.
You gonna get asthma, boy. My dude, don't go to the basement. You gonna get asthma.
There's animals down here.
Of course there's gonna be animals.
At several points during his exploration of the basement, he can be heard making comments about a strange noise coming from somewhere on that floor, and at first he seems to think it's an animal. Alarmingly, he finds a few shell casings on the ground from what was probably a 9mm handgun. Although it would be pretty unsettling to find something like this lying on the ground in an abandoned factory basement, it's worth mentioning that police departments often use abandoned buildings and complexes for training exercises. However, in this case, it's impossible to know if that's really what happened. Shortly after, he comes across a series of disturbing messages on the walls. He continues recording as he walks down narrow corridors, and this is where things get a lot more disturbing.
What are we gonna find? That's what she said. My dude, shut up, turn around, and get your ass out the building.
Yo.
He has no survival
some help, bro?
He's clearly trying to focus and taking a dump.
Yo.
Leave my mans alone.
He's not even responding.
And then you hear somebody running up on you, you start booking it.
Bro, that's crazy.
After about 20 minutes of exploring, the visit takes a very dark turn as Chris runs into a hunched-over man without a light at the far end of the room. He calls out to him and asks if he needs any help, but the man doesn't move or respond, and Chris decides to leave him alone. Understandably, Chris's breathing can be heard getting louder and heavier after the extremely unsettling encounter, but things were only about to get more disturbing for him.
You know what? I'm gonna help that dude out. I'm gonna give this dude a $20 bill. Yo.
It's lagging? Yeah, I know.
Hey, I got some money for you.
My dude, I don't think he wants money. I know, I'm trying to save up for, some RAM.
About 4 minutes later, Chris decides to go back to help the man out by giving him a $20 bill. But alarmingly, when he goes back to the room, the man is no longer there. This could be incredibly dangerous, as squatters are known to behave aggressively toward unwanted visitors. And because they know the place better than anyone else, they can easily hide in the shadows and attack or scare visitors when they least expect it. One theory that many viewers seemed to favor was that maybe the man was not a homeless person at all, but a gang member who was hiding from the shootout that could be heard at the beginning of the video. However, it's impossible to confirm if this was actually the case, and it seems pretty unlikely given his strange behavior. As he continues searching for the man, Chris notices bats flying around the basement, and things get even more eerie at this point.
Dude, run. I saw a leg.
There's a lot of bats down here, too.
Run! I can't hear you.
Right when he walks into one of the rooms, if you look closely at the far left of the screen, you can actually see the man from earlier standing in what used to be a door frame, staring at Chris in the darkness. The man from earlier standing in what used to be a door frame,
my dude, you ain't Batman. Get the fuck
staring
out
at
the
Chris
shadows.
in the darkness. Alarmingly, Chris doesn't notice and continues walking.
I just saw the outline of that thing.
Frame staring at Chris in the darkness. Alarmingly, Chris doesn't
that build, dude. That build.
Notice and continues walking.
Yo, what's good, ton?
It's
How
impossible
doing?
to know how long the man had been following him,
Yo,
and in these kind of situations,
y'all.
it can be hard to gauge the squatter's intentions. A few minutes later, the squatter
Y'all
can be
hear me
seen
now?
walking outside as cars pass by the side of the building. At one point, Chris mentions he thinks the guy said hello, but it can't be heard clearly through the camera audio. Just when he decides to head out, he hears a cell phone vibrate, indicating that there are more people down there with him hiding in the darkness. Having had enough disturbing encounters for the night, he decides to play it safe, and fortunately he was able to leave the building unharmed. He never found out who that man was, and since then he hasn't uploaded another video of the Westinghouse factory.
I dropped his streak.
This video was recorded in Tartu, Estonia and uploaded to YouTube in August of 2016. In it, a group of 4 teenagers visit an abandoned sauna that was built more than a century ago in 1915, back when Estonia was still part of the Russian Empire. After fulfilling its purpose for 80 years, the sauna was decommissioned in 1995. The building remained abandoned for 23 years until in 2018 it was fully renovated and turned into a beauty salon, which is still operating as of this video's upload in 2023. In August of 2016, the uploader visited the abandoned location with 3 friends.
When was this video
Upon
recorded?
entering the building, you can see that it looks exactly what you would expect a building that's been abandoned for 21 years to look like.
I know, dude.
There's an insane amount of mold growing freely.
Hold on, now is it better now that the video is paused? Can you see me? Is it laggy now? Is it laggy? Is it laggy? Is it? I mean my face cam, is it laggy? Is it laggy now? Is it? You weren't? Exactly. It's whenever the video is playing. Look, I'm gonna start the video. You're gonna see the quality of the face cam is gonna drop.
On the walls, the heaters are covered in a thick layer of rust, the floor is full of holes, and the entire structure looks like it could collapse at any second. Throughout the video, the teenage explorers also run into some disturbing messages on the walls. An especially eerie one reads, "You can't hide," and there are also several creepy drawings of stick figures graffitied on the walls in some of the other rooms. For the first few minutes of the visit, other than the disturbing messages and some loose shoes and other personal belongings, there doesn't seem to be any indication that somebody could be living there or had even visited the location recently. However, about 20 minutes into the visit, one of the teenagers finds a door frame covered by a curtain, and they decide to explore the room.
Clear the room. They're all booking. Yo, son, thank you so much for the 5,000 likes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
As one of the explorers shines a flashlight into the room, a gut-wrenching scream can be heard coming from the shadows.
Flashed the flashlight
Immediately,
right
the 4
into
teenagers run out of the
soul.
building in a panic.
My dude was
when they
in
finally
agony.
step outside, the sun is already set, and the boys get into the car to flee from the location. Although the explorer was too busy running to show footage of the screaming man, it's more than likely that it was a homeless resident of the abandoned building who wasn't expecting visitors. Still, it must have been extremely disturbing to experience something like that, even if they went together as a group. After that day in 2016, the boys never went back to the abandoned sauna again.
I would dare you to go back.
In March of 2022, YouTubers Meg and Chris uploaded a new video to their channel, Back in Time MC, in which they showed footage of their
Meg and Chris from fucking Family Guy? Yo, they make a big
visit to a rundown old farmhouse somewhere in the UK. In the caption, they mentioned that they found an entry point through an open window around the side of the house. Based on the state of disarray the farmhouse is in, it's clear that nobody has been maintaining it for quite some time. The floor is covered in leaves and cobwebs, the shoes look dusty and unused, and there are even a couple of dead animals lying on the floor, along with some shotgun shells lying on top of a bedside table. The only clues that indicate somebody could have been at the location relatively recently are that one of the light bulbs in one of the bedrooms looks relatively new, and some of the clothes in the closet look only gently used. Based on the pictures that Chris finds on different shelves and hung up on the walls, it appears as if a family of at least 4 children used to live in the farmhouse. As the couple continues with the exploration, they walk into one of the upstairs bedrooms, where they find something very unexpected.
What?
Piece of carpet that comes all the way across.
The whoever's living there had the audacity to lay out fucking
carpet.
carpet.
Into this bedroom here.
Is that a walker?
Wow.
How'd you know there was gonna be an old lady in there?
Oh my god! Hello! You're alive!
What?
You know, Mum, we...
She snuck up on bro. Yo, Ton, have you seen this video before? How the fuck did you know it was gonna appear?
Oh my god! Hello! You're alive!
Oh my god!
What?
You know, Mum, we...
You can't live in here. Yeah?
No!
You've seen it? Oh, okay,
We
makes
thought it
sense.
was abandoned. We thought it was abandoned.
You can't live in here.
Oh,
When he first
it was
walked
in
into
the
the
bed.
room, Chris didn't notice
She was in the fucking bed.
that there was someone asleep in the bed. It wasn't until Meg walked in and made a noise that the woman sleeping in the bed woke up and gave them the scare of their life.
She was like, "Fuck y'all doing in my house?"
Although the uploaders blurred the woman's face out of respect for her privacy, it's clear that she's pretty old. During the conversation,
Clearly,
she tells the
you can hear the
couple that
voice.
she doesn't have any family that could take her to live somewhere else less depressing. Out of sheer kindness, Chris and Meg keep the lady company and try their best to understand her situation. She introduces herself as Jane, and over the next 10 minutes they ask her questions.
Hold on. You're having a full-blown conversation while a woman is still in her fucking bed? Dude, walk out the door, give her some time to, like, get up and have a conversation elsewhere. You're catching her off guard.
About how she ended up living all alone in an abandoned
Jesus
farmhouse. Thanks to the couple's empathy, the initial shock of being startled by the sleeping old lady and seeing her living in such terrible conditions quickly turns into a heartwarming moment in which the three of them talk about each other's lives.
What happened was I came here to help somebody.
Okay.
And this is only for a week I'm coming.
Yeah.
And that was 1993.
Oh god.
Wow, so you've been here nearly 30 years.
Disturbingly, Jane mentioned she's been living in the abandoned farmhouse for 30 years, and even though Chris and Meg offer to help her, bring her food, and buy her clean clothes and sheets, she seems hesitant to accept anything from them, claiming that she's fine living the way she does. She mentions that even though it's not her house, the men who work at the farmhouse know she's there, and they bring her food and water every day. In a touching moment at the end, the couple agrees with Jane to visit her again soon. This would have been a happy ending to the story, but Chris and Meg included a caption at the end of the video that cast the situation in a more disturbing light.
What happened?
The caption reads, "I did a lot of research to try and find the name of the farm and whom it was owned by. Luckily, I got the information needed, and I even got a message from someone who knew the farmer who farms there." Chris goes on to explain that the man who reached out to him also knew that Jane was living there, and that the farmer also lives in the farmhouse with her. According to the man, Jane is very well cared for, but she chooses to live in those terrible conditions anyway. The man also mentioned that Jane's husband is up there constantly to make sure she's okay, but she doesn't accept his help very easily, or anyone's help for that matter.
But why though?
It's worth mentioning that Jane might not have been completely truthful about her situation to Chris and Meg. During their conversation, she mentioned that she didn't have anyone to care for her except for the farmer, but the man who knew the farmer told Chris that she also has a brother who tries to take care of her. Not entirely convinced by what the man told him, Chris continued digging for information and found that the farm was not on any land registry records, but there was another property to Jane's name that she owned between 1986 and 2015. After visiting the other property, Chris mentioned that it was as unkempt and beat up as the farmhouse itself. Having heard two different versions of the story from the man who contacted him and from Jane herself, he decided to contact Adult Social Services. This
Adult Social Services? That's a thing?
is the email he received from them. "Good morning, thank you for your email. I can confirm that Adult Social Care are aware of this lady, however, I'm not able to provide you with any further details.
Yes, son, thank you for the
We appreciate your input and the
6,067
information you have
likes.
provided, and thank you for raising your concerns with us." Chris then told the man who contacted him to tell Jane that he and Meg would be happy to go back and visit her if she wanted them to. After this, there were no further updates on the old woman, and we'll likely never know what became of her.
She's gone.
The only thing we know for sure is that if
She's
someone else
dead
decides
and
to
gone.
explore the abandoned farmhouse in the future, they'll likely run into the same situation as Chris and Meg. Sadly, this type of situation is much more common than many people realize. With rising prices and the overall state of the global economy, a large part of the elderly population is being forgotten. Hopefully, Jane can accept some help from her family members and live out the rest of her days in much better and healthier conditions than the one she was in when the video was uploaded. Robert.
Anyways, chat, that's gonna do it for today, man. Thank y'all so much for watching me. I will be back here tomorrow, you know. Feel free to catch me around the same time, maybe a little earlier, you know what I mean? But thank you for watching all the way to the end, man. I really appreciate every single one of y'all for being here. Alright? Peace. Where's the end button? I forgot. Yo, ton, y'all better see you tomorrow, man. I'll be doing more reacts now. Since until I get that Wi-Fi thing fixed, I'll be doing more reacts now. Alright? Peace. And thank you for watching YouTube. Consider liking and subscribing, and leave a comment down below. Do you think I should do this whenever I have, time and money for this shit? Let me know what y'all think I should do. Alright? Peace.